Chapter 1, Rebel from Z-Tech. Airing from Bon Air Gardens in Arauca, a community also known as Bompton, is a young man named Kyle George, affectionately named Rebel because of a rebellious nature noted in him as a toddler by his mother.
I was miserable as I used to call me Mr. Rebel.
Raised by a devoted Christian woman, the young man originally grew up in St. James and was born prematurely, weighing only 2 pounds after 6 months of pregnancy.
So that was my third miracle. He was a miracle. So I was born at 6 months and 2 weeks, a premature baby, as fighter from day one. Because if I say something, he weighed about 2 pounds, and he had 2 pounds and something, and he spent only 10 days in the hospital, 11 days.
So it means he was determined to live there?
He was determined to be here.
Despite that fact, he developed normally, perhaps proving to a persistent nature to fight, live, and grow that was in him from day one. His birth inspired his mother to leave an abusive relationship so as to give him the opportunity of a good life. Rebel had a natural love for singing and had experience in church, as he'd sing in choirs and play drums.
So I said, boy, you're going to sing from thousands of people.
Rebel was used to singing in the soprano repertoire, something which would be relevant in the future. As a youth, he was described as impulsive, hyperactive, inordinary, and gifted, apparently learning way faster than his peers at school.
Because he was not an ordinary child. He was an impulsive child, and he was hyperactive. So because why? Recognizing that he learned above his peers.
Yeah.
And so when a child learn above the peers, remember they're going to be disruptive in class.
Yeah.
Because what will happen is that child, he already picked up this. You can run right around the classroom, and by the time you look, he already picked it up. So he bored.
Yeah.
And so wonder.
Unfortunately, despite his talent and gifts, his environment was quite violent, and he grew up in the context of a violent gang war between the Rasta City Gang and the Muslim City Gang. A huge fan of dancehall, Jamaican artists such as Squash and Alkaline inspired Rebel to make music. He'd start releasing music online starting in 2016. Rebel would start associating himself with a crew from Carronage called Z-Tech. Z-Tech was led by one of Rebel's friend, Prince Swanee, also known as Swandan, and Bling Boss, also known as Zeeby. Other than Z-Tech, Rebel would make friends early on with Selector Kyle and DJ Skymax, who would play a very important role early on in his career, producing a lot of his first songs and help push his name to the radio and various events. Under the Z-Tech umbrella, Rebel would release songs such as Violation with Swanee and Bling Boss.
Body look mash up like a crash in a van, boy. You could hide in a carnival van. Gun in a hand, me not afraid of Babylon. You can't this one, you can't this rebel, boy. This Z-Tech on your rise, the devil.
And Watch You Friends with King Dene.
See people you know worth just up like sheep in the place of me go. Holy heap of friend me last this year.
One of Z-Tech's first lyrical conflicts was against an artist called Trinidad Ghost, which Swanee and Rebel dealt with wicked.
How them name trigger and them never bust a trigger yet. Copper in your face, will let light you like a cigarette. Car pull up, pussy them a seat and I try run first. So the Taurus a bus and the boy head bus. Shoulda never feel you a bad man, you know. So me chop him in half like a fraction. Scooby-Doo wasn't ready for no action. The first song when me bus kill 10 man. Me never heard about you and a gunman. Boy, call out me mama name in a them song. Boy, suck your mother in a ear that tongue. Pick up 19 with a sing sweet song. Better don't let the footstep in a damn tongue.
Soil Rebel, Prince Swanee, King Dean, and Joviton were the only Trinidadian dancehall artists he truly rated highly. Joviton was a good friend of Rebel, known for his gospel-themed music. In the context of the violent war between Rasta City and Muslim City, rebel associated with the Rasta City Gang.
Rasta, Lionheart.
In the song Home, he would shout out main leaders of Rasta at the time.
Respect the Rasta, them to the fullest. As it is the president, they get bullet. Tire one Sunday, they dog them low key. Better move when Berkey clap 30. When they see the lion pole and all.
Chapter 2. Rebel from Bompton 6. In late 2018, Rebel would stop associating with Z-Tech, but still remain cordial with them. His goal now shifted to his own brand, Bompton, in the Bon Air Gardens community in Aroka. He thus changed his username from Rebel from Z-Tech to Rebel from Bompton. He'd continue releasing various songs, each song hinting at constant growth in his style, notably Art of War, Over the Goldfinger Rhythm. He was starting to catch traction, and the people loved his music.
No, bodies eyes every gun and murder them, bang bang. Press it out them fever. No sir, me never heard of them, Beat them rise everything. Quick gang rise everything. Keep them 9 from the 9 if them get out of line, get the bad like everything. Quick gang rise everything. Keep them 9 out of 9 when them get out of line, got it.
Later, he'd release the music video for Half Step, in it representing fully for Bompton, as can be seen by the apparels he wore and the use of red bandanas. He was seen hanging out with friend Tafar I, singing lyrics about loyalty towards his friends, his duty to his people, and being ready to go to war for them if anyone was to threaten their safety, because at the same time, the Six movement in Jamaica was getting really big. Squash, a young artist from Montego Bay, was seeing a huge buzz for his unique style and story, representing for the G-City gang of Salt Spring.
Go in a book of my life, man. Just read it out, you see me? Yes, not take long, not for do. Chapter 1, remember when me poor? Remember when my mommy used to sleep on the floor? Pressure, couldn't take it no more. Make up my mind and go through the door. Chapter few, say me I go try a thing. Me and my brother take a phone and do dialing. Man get bad mind and shut down my brother. So me buy a gun and file down the fire pin.
Squash's early style was characterized by a balance of grimy lyrical assault in a lower tone, combined with very high-pitched soprano interjections.
Left them in a hole, them smelling now. Them know, so me do well enough. Them know, so you evil, me do well enough. And me room and me feel so nice, and me feel like make a dopey. What we do? Make a dopey. What we do? We make some dopey. Know me tan. The whole of them know me tan. Them know me all yet. Them know me tan. One. Pussy them know we tan. Run up on the block. Empty your block.
Similarly, as Rebel started claiming G-City, his flow would be characterized by this. Rebel was already proficient at singing in the soprano repertoire because of his childhood days at church choirs. Listening to Squash probably gave him the confidence and a blueprint to use this skill in the context of his gunman music. He put his own creative twist on it and created a unique style that would later set him apart from other dancehall artists in Trinidad. Squash himself might have been influenced by fellow Mobe artist Tommy Lee Sparta, also known for this kind of juxtaposition in his flow and delivery, which is done with the goal of sounding demonic. On the 16th of November 2018, Rebel would release Hellfire, still representing heavy for Bompton and using demonic themes in his lyrics, similar to Mobe artists like Tommy Lee Sparta and Squash. Rebel would represent heavily for Bompton and shout out the Z-Tech empire with whom he previously associated.
Don't fuck wrong Bompton and the rest of them. Hellfire, hellfire, make up upon them, they might sing like choir dog. Hellfire, hellfire, rifle a burn them, the devil in the clip.
3 days later, a major event would happen in Rebel's career. Rebel would release the song G-City. Suddenly, his affiliations changed a little.
Success real Tayo G1 King. Cherry Buzzy Rifle, that sound amazing. J-City, J-City.
While he was still a Bompton affiliate, he changed his username from Rebel Bompton to Rebel 6. The song itself represents not only for Squash's G-City gang, but also for St. Paul Street in Trinidad, a Rasta City stronghold under the supervision of the leader T.O.G., who would later adopt the moniker of Six Dan. Rebel would big up a few Six artists from Jamaica, as well as multiple members under T.O.G. He would also big up Low Plus, very closely linked to St. Paul and supervised by a man known as M1. Although Rebel had previously shouted out T.O.G. in his music, this song would solidify his association with St. Paul Street. Most importantly, the song would catch the attention of Squash, incarcerated at the time. Daddy One, a member of the Six, would hear the song and make Squash listen to it. Squash, impressed by Rebel, would happily welcome him as a member of the Six. The link between Trinidad and Jamaica's Six was made, and now official. As a result, Rebel, linked with producer Hempton Music, frequent collaborators of Squash, who have also made rhythms for many Jamaican artists such as Rygan King, Javilani, and even Vibs Cartel. That would result in another song repping for the Six, Fully Dunce. Rebel would release a part 2 to G-City on December the 22nd of 2018. In 2019, Rebel got a Six tattooed on his face, a bold move showing his loyalty to the Six. Rebel would end up meeting the Six in real life on April the 26th of 2019. Squash, Daddy One, and Rebel would all link in Tobago to represent the Six at the Great Fate Weekend on Pigeon Point Beach. Rebel would start making more music with his associates K-Lion, an artist from Belmont, and Tafari, a Bompton friend. Rebel and Tafari would release Fully Six.
Round a bad bush, them fully chip and man feel. Them a get 26. City man, them kill a quick.
Rebel and Lion would release Mash. Later, all three would collaborate on Murderous.
Tough side march out for the killing. Belmont monsters for the drill, them ready for the drilling. Sex them outside and we willing. Team Tyson, them will boom out the ends well.
Rebel and K-Lion would hop together on the popular lifestyle rhythm, which many Trinidad artists performed on at the time, to make the song BI6, or Belmont is 66. This would solidify the Six link in Trinidad as stretching from Bompton to St. Paul, Belmont and Maraval.
Sex outside, tell the pussy them try. Sex outside, tell the pussy them try. B-I-L, M-I-L, make duppy brain fly. St. Paul, low place, Bompton, you gon' die. Sex outside.
Thanks to his musical talent and association with the Six, Rebel was getting very popular. As previously said in Half Step, he was ready to go all in to make it big. Regardless of challenges, he owed it to himself and his people.